born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
You're an athlete. Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.
Podcast discussion, probably, actually.
Well, we're going.
Oh, here we go.
Welcome, athletes, into the gym closet. We got to go to fast one today, so we're going to be auctioneering type.
Stop it.
Amber's in a hurry. She's got a massage. She's got to get out of here at 1, so we have a half hour to speak to everybody today.
Hey, you guys don't have anywhere to go. You can keep going for 2 hours.
Let's jump into our first topic.
The show does not go on without Amber here, now that she's back. So, welcome, athletes, into the gym closet. We have an awesome episode today. I'm glad we're getting back into. We have the whole crew here today, so I'm joined with
It's been a long time.
by Amber and Zach. Welcome, guys.
Thanks.
So we will have. We're still not going live, but we are uploading it to YouTube. So if you are watching this on YouTube or on Facebook from our YouTube, please hit subscribe. There's a lot of cool stuff that we can do. So there's a little subscribe button right under your video right now, or at the end of the video, hit that subscribe
So
for
we're
us.
not live on Facebook anymore?
We're not live on Facebook because my Facebook account that was
that's
locked
right.
to this got screwed
You
up.
got to figure that out for next season, right?
No.
For the videos? Or can you just upload them?
I can just well, I can do. I mean, yeah, we'll go live for that. We'll figure it
Facebook,
out.
you got banned.
I got banned hard for nothing.
Somebody, and what was funny is that somebody messaged me, did Tyler quit Facebook or did he get off Facebook? I'm like, no. He got
I'm sure
banned.
that, like, there's some people that were like, that literally like talked to me and was like, dude, what did I do? You blocked me? I was like, no, I didn't block anyone. I got kicked off. I got hacked. I got a message that said I was underage. I went through and I had to confirm my identity. And then as soon as I did that, I got kicked off because it said that I, for not doing the community thing, whatever, standards, community standards. And so I got hacked. They changed my age and then they changed my profile picture to like the terrorist flag thing. And the only reason I know that is because I got one email that said that you've been banned, and the email, but I deleted it right away because I was like, this isn't even for me, because the profile pic was a terrorist flag. So I was like, oh, I got somebody hacked me. They sent me an email that wasn't for me. Then I went on to try to get on my account, and I was banned. And so all my shit was gone.
So
Luckily,
right after Porter was born.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like,
no. So it's interesting though. So
I
like,
think you said, did you log into my account or something? Like, no, because like, you were just curious of what the hell's going on.
yeah.
And sometimes, like, on our computer, like, your account's up, and I'm like, no, I didn't. And you're like, it was someone it was like a different country, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know where it was, but anyway, so it completely shut down that account, which had a bunch of stuff on it. Luckily, you have all the business stuff on your account too, so we didn't lose access to the business account. We did lose access to, we had like a business account for the gym closet that was only under my profile. That's completely gone. Luckily, we didn't do much from that, but like if I would be livid if that other
Well,
shit
it was so funny
gone.
because Tyler's like such the optimistic person, and I'm like the pessimist. I'm like, you're not going to get that account back. And he's like, no, I am. 30 days.
30 days.
30 days, it'll be back up. I'm like, okay. So he'd come home, I'm like, oh, is it back up yet? Nope, but it hasn't been 30 days. And I'm like, yes. Like, looking at my watch, it definitely has. And then one day he comes home and he's like, I had to get a new Facebook account because they wouldn't let me redo that one.
Right, which is a pain in the ass.
It's a pain in the ass.
It actually though, like,
And then people thought you had like
not
two accounts
being-
I was
because when they
confused.
message you
I
and
was
be like,
super confused.
is
and
that-
then so then they were also like, oh, is there someone that is spamming your account and adding me again? So should I add you or not? And I was like, yeah, add me, because the other one got kicked off. So like it was a whole cluster. But it is interesting though, like being off of Facebook, and now I'm not on, like, I don't have my Instagram account either.
Yeah.
Because I got banned there. And so like not being on it has been kind of like liberating, to the point where like I don't, like I take pictures and stuff of the kids, and I'm like, I don't feel like I'm like, oh, I should go share this. You know what I mean? It's just weird. It's almost a different life when I didn't have anything. You know what I mean? It's interesting. Like, I think it's valuable, but it also is kind of liberating not to have it. you know.
Probably good detox. I probably need to do it too, but I have no choice.
But that's the other thing is, like, the entire time I was having to go through your Facebook to do the business stuff, and then I was having to go through the gym's Instagrams and stuff. So it's not like I didn't have.
You're not too active on social media.
No, I'm pretty not very.
But
active.
a lot of males. I mean, you just have people that.
I mean, I get on a lot, and like I look through. I go on Facebook and Twitter
But
and
you just don't
Instagram
post
every
a
day.
lot
I just don't
yourself.
post a
Yeah,
lot. Yeah,
yeah.
like I go on all the time, but I don't.
Which typically
post
a lot of guys
lot,
don't.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So for those watching, I just looked down and noticed Crave went pastel. So we have some badass pastel. I'm wearing one right now, but we have our baseball tees that are available. Amber's got the shorts and the socks on. So if anybody wants any gear, any swag for the summer, we have it all up on craveathlete.com. And you can go get anything there that you would like. But let's dive into the show a little bit. We are actually on a tight schedule because Amber has to jump out of here to go get her relaxing on that she got for Mother's Day a long ass time ago, and finally spending it, so that's good. But so if you're if this is the first time joining us, Crave Gym is the Gym Closet is a Crave Gym podcast. We're a podcast that basically talks about living great, being successful, and ultimately living like an athlete. And that's the definition of living like an athlete, is being great in life, being successful both in the gym, physically. We talk about, what we do to train and the X's and O's of why we do what we do, nutrition. We talk about all of that. We also talk about outside of the gym, how to be as successful as you can be at work, at life, everything that is outside of the gym, we try to touch on as well. So what do we want to start out with today? So we have a couple things today. We got word of the week. We have a craving that we will start again. The craving is always fun, so you're going to vote this or that. So we'll get that started again, and that will be out this week.
And then we're putting in like a comment part, so you have to say
so
why.
So you have to go.
You have to
You have
say
to
why.
pick one or the other, and you have to say why, because it gives a little more
Okay, so we'll
context.
just start
to all
with
that.
that.
Okay, let's start with
Okay.
that.
So we were talking about, the summer plans, what people like to do in the summer.
It's almost 4th of July.
Plans. So we were thinking, pool or a lake. Do you enjoy sitting around a lake, or would you rather be sitting at the pool?
And that's it. And that's the whole discussion we have today for the craving. That's it.
That's actually
Pool or lake.
Pool or lake. And that. Okay, so the logistics of this is you have a pool, you vote pool or lake on our social media. You comment 150 different comments. You comment every single comment that you have. We're going to read through them. We're going to study and analyze every single comment. We're going to get together, and next week we're going to have a segment commenting and reading and having a great time analyzing what all of our athletes and anybody that is joining us gets to what their opinion is. All right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So we can't say what we like right now?
No, we gotta wait till next week.
We gotta wait till next week. This is a
give our-
preemptive. Once we get these going, then we're going to talk about last week's and introduce next week's. But right now, we only have the introduction. We cannot give opinions.
All right.
The
What if
whole
people-
segment is pool or lake. And that brings up another good point too. Like we're looking to try to get more like segments going on. So if anyone has like segment ideas, like recurring segments,
Yes, I like
give
that.
them to us, please,
Yes.
because we don't know.
One of the other segments that we do is our Q&A or our athlete questions. So do we want to get into that, or actually let's do this. So we'll get into the word of the week first, and then we'll get into our Q&A, our athlete questions. But the word of the week this week is help. And the reason that help is the word of the week is, as a successful person, if you can't admit or you can't ask for help, then there's a lot of negatives that come along with that. So what we're talking about today is the courage and knowing when to ask for help, because you have to really analyze. So many people can help you on your team, whether it's inside of the gym or outside of the gym. Knowing when to ask help for your nutrition, knowing when to ask help when you're lifting, those are big parts inside of the gym. Outside of the gym, it's a big personality, and I'm very, very guilty of this is a lot of times I want to think I can do everything. And at the end of the day, the most talented person in the world cannot do everything because there's just not enough time in the day. And so I try to pride myself on knowing a lot of different things, but I have to know when to ask help, when to go to Amber and ask help with social media, when to go to Zach and ask help for whether it's prospecting or anything else that we have, that the projects that we have outweigh the time that I have to put them in. And that's one thing that I'm really, really bad at. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it today, is because that's something I need to continue to work on and continue to help delegate not only business stuff, but stuff that kind of proves that, like, I have to admit that I'm not always right, and I need help with a lot of different stuff, right? And I knew you'd have a comment on that.
You did?
Yes, I definitely knew that you would have a comment on that. But so the definition of help is obviously to make it easy for someone to do something by offering someone services or resources. So that's the verb, the action word help, right? Action word is verb.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But it's also a noun, and that's the action of helping someone do something or to assist somebody. And so both of those are kind of what we're concentrating on. In some of so I have a book that is 100 different things that successful people do. And so this is one of them, is knowing when to ask help and when to delegate. And so that's part of this segment that I wanted to cover. But the action steps for this were pretty interesting. And so this is one thing that I'm going to work on this week. This is something that if you're listening at home, you can write down some of these things and work on this exercise, for yourself. But number one was find your blind spots. And so that was interesting to me because you can't really know when to ask help for something until you know what it is that you need help for. You know, where your expertise might lack, where your time is constrained, what you can delegate to other people. Like that's one of my biggest things is knowing my blind spot is one of the things that is my blind spot is I think just time where I take on everything and I don't know and I can't ask for help in actually delegating different opportunities. And I think because of my I'm kind of a perfectionist, or it has to be done a certain way for me to, I almost feel like I have to have my hands in it. And so making sure that I get away from that and knowing that other people have quality work as well, that's something I need to
And
work
I
on.
think something here we go. Let's lay this out on the line.
Yeah, I know.
What does how I have to work on? Yeah. Tell
Something
everyone.
I think you struggle with is like you don't understand that there's people can get the same work done just in a different way.
Right.
You know, like you just have this one set mind, one track mind that's like, okay, it's got to be done this way. Where there's people with different, like the way people's brains are different.
Right.
They might do it a different way and finish it, but sometimes you don't like that idea or that thought of
Right.
that way.
Yeah, and I agree, and that's kind of
Not
cool
that it's a bad
with
thing,
finding
it's
that
just-
blind spot. And so if you're looking for these blind spots, that's one of those. The question that you can ask is there a different angle that I'm missing that you could view this situation in, right? And so that ultimately what you're saying is there's other people have different perspectives, other people have different angles in which they see a problem or see a way to do a project or a certain way to a different angle on, the workout or whatever it might be. That's where I have to get better at doing that. And I'm giving my own examples. You should be thinking at home, you should be thinking of different things that you can work on and how other people might perceive those things with different angles, right? What angle are you missing that someone else might see? The second thing, as far as the action step, is being self-aware, right? And how do you be self-aware? Well, the good thing, and you'll love this too, is make sure that you have people in your corner that are not just yes men or people that agree with every opinion that you have, but people that are close enough, whether it's your family, your close friends, that will tell you when you are missing something. And you are great at that. You are great at letting me know when there can be, when I can, you know, where my blind spot is, or when I'm missing something or something like that.
Okay.
Which is good. So being self-aware.
Don't know how to take this right now.
No, but it's funny. So like I think about like self-awareness. Like one person that I feel like is very not self-aware in the general population is like LeBron James, for some reason.
Oh, man.
Like if you ever follow LeBron James tweets or anything like that, it just feels like he has everybody in his life, whether it's family, friends, everybody in his life tells him that everything that he does is a good idea.
100%, yeah.
And so like for him to be he needs that dude to kind of give him a gut check and be like, that sounds terrible. That sounds like a bad idea.
That's funny. I've never paid attention to it or noticed.
Yeah. So I mean, but that's good to have someone that grounds you and someone that can be honest with you.
Right.
You know, and I think a lot of the, you know, people that are in LeBron James' position, I'm sure a lot of his close friends and relatives are on payroll too. So at some point, can you ever be completely honest with your boss about some of those things? Maybe not, you know, and I don't expect any employees to really be like, hey, don't go to your boss and be like, oh my God, you're completely wrong on this is your blind spot. You know what I mean? Like, leave it to your family and very close friends.
Zach's going to say that next
right?
week. Hey, I think this is your blind spot.
So being self-aware is the second thing. And that's the people that close family members that can kind of hold you accountable for being self-aware. And then the third one is learn to laugh at yourself. So in this book it said the most successful people know when they're self-aware to the point where they can laugh at each other. They can laugh at themselves. They know their downfalls. They know where to ask help for, and all that kind of goes back to asking for help. They know when to laugh at themselves and if you're not taking yourself too seriously, then you know when to ask for help, and you don't end up not being self-aware and looking like a jerk.
I should have asked for help last night then, because I was like in the middle of changing a diaper. One kid is like screaming, "Mommy, mommy!" and my phone was going off for my alarm, and I'm like, "Alexa, off." And it was my phone.
Yeah.
But I laughed at myself. I'm like, "Oh."
That's
my.
funny. So okay, and I like this too. I like this because you don't know when to ask for help.
I don't.
I
knew this is where this conversation was going.
And I just thought about this now. You
help.
hate asking for help, and I, as a husband, as a father, I can't read minds. So whenever you get mad at me and not that we like hardcore fight over these situations, but you bicker at me or you nag me for not doing something, but you didn't ask me to do it, and I didn't know that it needed to be done or something like that.
This could be a whole nother.
This could be a segment.
This could
be a
whole other
recurring segment.
because there's plenty of articles out there that the women we don't want to ask the man for help. We just want you to do it.
Right, but as a man,
see,
just
I know
when to ask.
That's why this
I would
whole
love to,
conversation
but that's interesting because I think that if you knew when to ask for help, or if you asked more, I would love to help, but I don't know what that is. And I'm not getting into like the relationship side of things. So you might be talking about when it comes to relationship stuff, you want the man to get a massage, or you want, you know, whatever those things are. You want the man to celebrate your birthday. You want him to do those things that a husband or you know, significant other should do. And so you shouldn't have to ask for your husband or whatever to buy flowers.
I was thinking more like the dishes
or chores, whatever like those things that are incrementally happen every single day. Maybe that's different. You shouldn't have to ask if you know that the dishes should be done, right? For me though, I just never notice that they're done. That's why I don't do them if I don't notice that they're done. But whole different topic. But I guess what I'm talking about,
which blows my mind.
What? I feel like everybody that's watching knows. We've had this conversation when you're not here. I've had this conversation a million times. About.
They're like, how do I know the dishes are done? Because I open up the dishwasher and look. Like, to me, it's just not. I don't know. But you are like, because trust me, I bitch to my girlfriends a lot. No, not a lot, but sometimes. And they're like, some guys are just like, they're like, yeah, he just doesn't do
I'm on
it.
Tyler's side. I'm
I'm sure someone,
Yes.
I'm sure someone listening, like, how do you not know that
And
there's
I'm
like
sure
a load of
Haley
laundry
is-
in the dryer? But I do, you know, like it just blows my mind. But men are wired different than women.
Well, and that's the
but
other
I'm not
thing.
giving
So
you an excuse. Like you can
don't
always
have an
work
excuse.
on that.
Right.
But,
Oh, definitely. But like, in that
Yeah,
same
it's-
context, would you be like, oh, I need to mow the lawn because I noticed that the lawn's getting?
Yes.
You would do that? Okay. So because
I
I
wouldn't
think
go out and
I think
mow
that-
it, but I would notice.
I wouldn't do it, but I would notice it is, and I would tell you to do it. But that's the thing. I think that there's
Well, I
different
can't
things. Like,
literally mow the lawn with kids home. Like I would
Well,
if
I
I
know.
had the opportunity to do it.
no,
But no, I look at the lawn. Yes, it's just I don't know. There's some science behind it that just
Yeah.
because and then I just think, oh, you're just intentionally not even doing this, and you know that they're
Yeah, there's
clean, but you
definitely
just
no
literally do
intention.
not know.
I think that's the thing is, yeah, like in the, sorry, Haley, in the, like the female brain, it's like something in there is like, I'm actively going out of my way to like avoid everything you want me to do.
Right.
You think
Yes.
that I should know to do. When really, I'm just like, I just don't
I'm
know.
just living my life.
I'm
I
just
don't
like, I'm just going along. And like, if
Yep.
you would ask me and say, hey, could you do this? I'd be like, sure, yeah.
Hell yeah.
But I
Right,
don't
that's
know
how he
what
is.
to do.
I know. And I just sit there and just go puff and puff, and I'm like, just move, go do it, please, go do it, because I don't want to ask for help. But
Right, but that's the thing. You don't ask and you hold it in, and then you get all pissed
I don't know.
because you
So
hold
I'm
it
gonna
in.
start asking for help this week.
I like that.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll
And
talk
you'll
about
be-
it next week.
You'll be surprised. You'll
Yeah,
be
we'll see
surprised
how it
how
goes.
you'll be surprised how like when you ask.
I might
and
not be on the
I just go,
podcast next week.
right. So Amber, she stopped doing the podcast with us now because of these conversations. But no, I think this is actually kind of like, I like this because it gives a different dynamic than what we've had on the podcast before when it's just
Way
three
different.
guys, or when it's just Zach and I. And so it's cool because we get the female perspective, but then also we get the relationship dynamic and all that kind of stuff is fun too. So so that's the word of the week. Make sure that you this week learn when to ask for help. And
Well, and I think
also,
in the gym too, it's like when you're lifting and you don't know if you can do a certain amount of weight, like in our strength season, ask a teammate for
Oh, yeah.
help. You know,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
ask them
definitely.
to help you do things. Like that's part of the community and part of being here is, hey,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna be strong enough to get this up. Can you spot me, or can
Yeah.
you know?
or if you have any questions, ask your coach. Have those
Oh, yeah,
conversations. That's what
absolutely.
we're here for. And to speak on that, we're going to go into our athlete question of the day. Do you want to read it? Is that what you're getting on?
Yeah,
that for?
that's what I was
Okay.
gonna get on there.
So Amber's going to read the question of the day from
So-
a couple.
Yeah, we posted on our
athletes.
team pages of what you guys want to hear more about because we want to give you guys information you're interested in hearing. And, we just come up with these topics thinking that that's what you guys want. So if you guys have any feedback on what topics you want us to cover, please let us know. But this was one comment was older athletes, how things change in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, changes to nutrition as we age and how we handle injuries for the older crowd. We can do it. We are doing it. Help us do it smarter. How to get older adults motivated to start becoming athletic?
So that's an awesome question, and I'm going to frame it not only for older adults, but as everybody ages, there's different transitions that
All
you
right, I
need
have
to.
go. It's
That's fine.
1:51.
Yep.
Okay.
No, you're good.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a wonderful massage.
Thank you.
So as you want to jump to this one, we can
Yeah.
shift the camera. Perfect. Actually, I'll look at it. All right. Sorry, we're pausing. All right. So I think that a big part of the way I want to frame this question is as we age, not even necessarily into late, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, but any time that you're aging, there's different seasons in life that you have to pay attention to more, pay attention to something more than maybe you didn't have to do in the
absolutely,
past,
yeah.
right? So me, like in my personal, in my strength and conditioning, my training now with having played college football, I have a bunch of injuries and joint issues, right? I never before I had those injuries in college, I never had to worry about anything, but I now have to worry about warming up more. And I'm only 33, so there's, I have to worry about some more things at 33 than I would have back when I was 25 because of these injuries that have continued to just wear on my joints and different things. So now it's all about mobility, and it's all about getting warmed up prior to my heavy lifts. So living like an athlete and still training like an athlete is still the goal and still being accomplished. But now I always think about like a sandwich, right? So before, you could always, in this example, you could always just have the turkey of your sandwich, and you could just go in and lift. Like you could just eat the turkey and now you have to have the full sandwich, right? So now you have to have the bread, the warm up, make sure that you warm up, make sure that you're doing extra warm up. If you have a certain specific injury or a shoulder that's bothering you on an upper body day, getting that body part warmed up, doing the PVC before PVC rotations and different mobility exercises prior to your workout, that's all becomes more and more important as you get older. And then, that's the one side of the bread. The other side of the bread is recovery. And that starts right after your workout. So if you used to be able to skip your stretching when you were 25, when you're 35, when you're 45, when you're 50, you are not going to be able to skip your stretching anymore because your recovery is slower. Your body's not getting you have to prepare for your next workout today. Meaning I've broken my muscles down. I've during this workout today. Now I'm done with this workout. My muscles are broken down. I've trained like an athlete, which you should still do. Now you need to do something to prepare yourself for tomorrow or the next day's workout. And having that day in between again as you get older is that recovery day is more and more important. So now I'm worried about my stretching. I'm worried about foam rolling. I'm worried about any joint that I need to ice, do different things overnight. That's going to prepare me for my next workout. And so that's all the physical side of the stuff, right? The other thing that I think as you age you have to think about more is the nutritional side of things. You have to make sure that, in my bodybuilding career, when I was 23 years old, I only worried about my macros. Like, I didn't give a shit. I could eat the exact same foods at the exact same time every single day, and I knew I was hitting my numbers, and all I cared was body composition, so I knew I was going to lose weight. But as you get older, you don't optimize your micronutrients as much. You do not recover as good, so you need to worry about your micronutrients. So that's when you get into stuff like greens. Like me personally, when I hit 30, I need to worry about my recovery. So now I need to make sure that during my workouts, I'm getting some sort of supplement that's a branched chain amino acid, making sure that I'm getting my EAAs, my essential amino acids. All of those things are good for recovery. Making sure that my macronutrient protein is high enough so that I have enough building blocks to do, because as you age, protein synthesis takes a hit, all of these different things. My testosterone starts dropping a little bit. And so as I age, my hormones, my body's working against recovery as far as turning it around over and over and over. So giving yourself an extra day, doing the physical things that you need to do, rice. If anybody's ever heard it, anytime that you have an injury, but if you do rice for your legs post leg day, getting ready for your next workout. So if I rest, ice, compression, and elevation, that's what rice stands for. Then those 4 things, I can do those anytime to prepare myself and make sure that I'm recovering, make sure that I'm doing as good as I can physically to get ready for the next workout. Nutrition wise, making sure I get into my micronutrients, make sure that I'm supplementing anything that I'm maybe lacking. Me personally, and Amber would laugh at me because I don't love, there's very little fruits and vegetables that I'll eat on a daily basis. I'm a guy that has like if I have broccoli or Brussels sprouts or green beans, like that might be the extent of my vegetables that I would eat. And then as far as like my fruits, I'm really not getting any type of fruits with the vitamins and the minerals that those things add for you. So what I've done is I have our greens, throw them in a shake in the morning, and I've gotten my daily allowance. So you're still pretty young, so you probably haven't had like the actual like the actual moment where you feel like, oh, I don't recover as fast anymore.
Right. Yeah. Not like I'm 24, so I haven't.
Right. You're still in that. Yeah. You're
right,
still in
so,
that. Like, I can, and that's you see it in like, you can go out and party and drink and do all that kind of stuff. Get up at 8 in the morning the next day and perform well.
Yeah, well, I can't. But
right.
A normal 24, but I can't. But
right.
most can.
Yeah, but I mean that's still like where you're at in your life. If
right.
you were still used to partying and doing that kind of stuff, you could continue to do that. And a lot of people, a lot of our athletes do that because that's a big population here is that younger athlete. But for me, like if I do go party, like one, hangover is going to be worse. I'm not going to feel like training very much the next day. So then I have to prepare for the next day. If I'm going to party, either know that I'm going to take that day off and recover, or know that during that party I'm going to take it easy so that I can do the training and stuff.
Right.
So there are that adjustment. Like for me, I hit 30 and it was a whole new ball game. Like my injuries affected my life in a way that they never had previously. My knee, I've had surgery on my knee. I've had surgery on both my shoulders. I've had surgery on my thumb. So all of those little things, they start catching up with me. And so that's when I have to, my knees and my hips don't warm up until like 15 minutes of leg warm-ups. Right. So then that tells me that I have to warm up prior to where I just walking 10 minutes, getting that blood moving in my legs. Then I do extra sets of my lifts to get into that warm-up. I'm doing extra movements. So like my shoulder, it feels funky if I'm not doing certain plate movements, band movements, PVC pipe movements prior to warming up. Then I can work out. Then I can hit it as hard as I can, just like any athlete can hit it hard, no matter what your age is. You can work out like an athlete. You should work out like an athlete because you're going to be better off for that. You're going to live and be functioning at a higher level when you're 60, 70, because you train like an athlete your entire life, than if you just decided to stop. And that's the other part I think of her question is she said, okay, what would she say? What can we do to motivate?
How do we motivate, people that are, in their 40s, 50s, 60s to maybe if they haven't been, training like an athlete or even working out or, doing anything of the sort at all for, 10, 15 years. And we have people like that too. We have a lot of people that, join Crave or anywhere, for their first time, haven't, done anything, physical at all for, 15 years. Right. And all of a sudden they're 50 years old and they're, coming into the gym for the first time in that long and starting up.
Yeah.
So, that's a really good question. And obviously, like you've been saying, there's so many benefits to training this way. And I think one of the things that people sometimes get stuck in their head is, they get this very simple view of physical activity and working out in that all it's going to do, and the only reason that they're doing it is lose weight, or the only reason they're doing it is, when
have big muscles.
Right.
Look
like
good.
for me, like when I was in college and high school, I wanted to lift weights so I could get big and strong looking. You know, where now it's shifted a lot for me. And again, I'm only 24. It's on the spectrum, not that old, I guess. I feel old, but but for me, it's over the last couple of years since I've gotten out of school and gotten into my more adult life, I've had this big shift from working out to get big muscles to now working out to improve my quality of life. And as I continue to get older, and when you get into your 40s and your 50s, that should be your main focus, is lifting or working out to improve your life, not necessarily just to lose weight or gain muscle mass. There's so many more things that joint mobility, bone density, your mental health is huge. And that's something that, like for me,
those are conversations that you can have with an older adult
right.
that may not want to jump into a training program, but you are trying to talk them into it. That's going to be, the quality of your life improves by training like an athlete. So the things that you have to think about is if one, body composition and losing some body fat makes you healthier.
Right.
Like the thing that is very understated is how many people have metabolic syndrome, which is basically being obese. If you hold extra body fat, then there's a lot of different diseases that are all put back to that, but you never hear anybody that died of metabolic disease. What you hear is metabolic disease caused fatty liver disease. Fatty liver disease is what killed this 45-year-old guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? So unfortunately, you say, oh, fatty liver disease is bad. Let's make sure that we don't. Let's put all of our focus on that thing is bad, or a heart attack killed him. Well, let's make sure that we don't have a heart attack. Well, how do we do that? We have to make sure that we're taking care of body composition, and all that is reducing extra body fat that you have. So that's one. That's going to alleviate a lot of problems if you just reduce body fat.
Right. Oh yeah.
But
right off the bat.
But say that you are a relatively you don't have a whole bunch of body fat that you have. Maybe you have an extra 10, 15 pounds that you would like to see go away, but you're not overly concerned with it because you're a 50-year-old guy or gal that just doesn't necessarily worry too much about that. Well, the other benefits of training like an athlete are being able to do things that you do on a normal basis, a functional working out that you will, not many people, and specifically our agility, not many people do workouts like athletes, and specifically agility movements. You're not going to see a lot of different gyms go through the ladders, the hurdles, the cones, that changing direction. And you always think of the extreme examples, right? Oh, the old lady tripped and fell down the stairs, so she should have been working balance. While that's true, if she works balance, she should be doing that. But it's the other little things like, just myself last winter, I thought of this, and I think Amber has a similar story. But I was slipping on the ice,
mm-hmm.
and I slipped, caught myself my legs were like in a weird funky position, caught myself, and I didn't fall. I kind of just got back up or got back to full stand, and then carefully like waddled off of the ice. Right. And like, to me, I was like, holy shit, if I hadn't, all of this could have, my knee looking at this could have torn my ACL if I wasn't strong. I could have done this if I didn't work on agility. My balance wouldn't have been as good, and I could have just slammed the back of my head into the ice. And so like at that point, I had this like kind of sigh of relief. I was like, oh, okay. A lot of my training just came out in a life-saving type of extreme example. Now, you don't have those extreme examples every day, but you do have little things like that every single day, right? So you have something where even the fact that, like, what I love about it is you go out and you're drinking and you're camping or something, and your buddy wants to race you to the trailer. Like, that kind of shit is just like, okay, I can pick up and sprint anytime that I want.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And a lot of 35-year-old, 45-year-old, 55-year-olds, if they're running after their teenager, or their teenager wants to sprint, and you're like, oh shit, nope, dad's not racing you. Like just to be able to, and that's such a human element, to be able to run as fast as you can.
Right. Just to be able to function at a decent capacity.
Right. And you might not do it very often.
Right.
But the fact that I can, at 33 years old, at any point, do all right. I'm not saying I'm great at any of this stuff, or that I'm still as fast as I've ever been, but I can still sprint whenever I want to. I can still do a pickup basketball game if I'm at the park and 5 guys or 4 guys need another guy, you know
Right.
what I mean, or whatever the case might be. That's like the things that I pride myself on in the way that I train is because of that. You know, I can still do that. The other day, so I was scooping rock for 8 hours last weekend because we had like 1,000 square foot of heavy rock that we needed to get rid of, or I needed to put into a different spot before we get a back patio. So the fact that I can go out there in 90-degree weather, and it sucked, don't get me wrong, but the fact that I could do that and still survive, like I didn't have to pay someone to come do that.
Right.
And I felt a sense of pride in that, and I know that that's from some of my training. Like, was I sore? Was I fatigued afterwards? Of course. But if I wasn't working out, there's things like that happen in your everyday life that you just can't successfully accomplish unless you've been training like an athlete.
Right.
Or you can successfully accomplish it and pay for it for, like, I'm not sore anymore and it's Wednesday.
Right,
I was pretty sore for 2 days, but if I didn't work out the way that I work out, I would probably be sore for the next week and a half, or blown my back out, or done something to injure myself, and all this kind of stuff. And so just the fact that you can do cool shit whenever you want to do cool shit, that's one of the biggest motivation factors in my mind to why you should have that conversation with your friend that's 46 years old and she's like, well, I really can't do whatever. She also she doesn't want to be the person that everybody at this party does. At this 4th of July party coming up, they all start playing sand volleyball, and she's the one sitting out because she doesn't feel athletic and she doesn't feel like she can step to the side and hit a ball. It's not about being good at the sport that you're about to play. It's about participating and always being able to participate no matter what for the rest of your life because of the training that you put in on a daily basis, because of the shape that you put in on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be volleyball, it might be badminton. If the fact that you don't have to sit on the sideline because you physically feel like you can't do it, that to me is the biggest motivation as you get older. And that's, to answer that question in a very long-winded way.
Right, yeah.
Those 2 questions. One, sandwich, the meat is always there, the workout's always there, but now you have to put the bread on before and you have to put the bread on after. So make sure that you're warming up, getting ready for your current workout, and make sure you're cooling down and getting replenished and getting recovered for your next workout. Always looking ahead for that.
And that might be something too where, going beyond even, because we do our 4.5 minutes of warming up before and we do our 4.5 minutes of stretching afterwards. But, if
that's adequate for 25 to 35.
Right. So if you're an older,
Yeah.
if you're, middle-aged, older athlete, you might get in 5-10 minutes early and get a 5-10 minute walk in on the treadmill.
Right.
You might spend an extra, 4 or 5 minutes after we do our cooling down and foam roll or do more stretching still, and, take care of your body that little bit extra. That's going to make that difference, not only short term, but then long term as well.
Right.
That's going to, keep.
That's huge.
So.
Yeah. And that's what it's about. It's about that recovery and stuff isn't necessarily about your muscles, but more about your joints, your ligaments, your tendons. That's the stuff that you have to keep strong. And that's the stuff that starts a little bit of pain, a little bit of inflammation here and there, all of that kind of stuff. Your muscles are your muscles. They're meant to get torn down and recover. Granted, you'll recover slower, and that's where the nutrition comes in for your muscles. But all that other stuff, you have to prepare and you have to recover better as you age. And then, just being able to do cool shit in life is one of the biggest motivations as you get older. So those 2 things, your sandwich and doing cool shit. That's really what it all boils down to. So let's see, just to clean up and finish the episode, we have a health and fitness expo at 7 Flags that we're going to be doing. We have a 2 o'clock Saturday and a 10 o'clock Sunday AM training session at that. So if you are interested in coming to a fitness expo, come see our booth, come grab some gear. It's at 7 Flags from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. we will be there. We'll have 2 training sessions. We'll have a training session on Saturday, training session on Sunday. And then we will be we'll have our booth there the entire time. So come visit us if you want to come hang out. Zach will be there 8 to 10.
Yes.
I'll be there 10 to 4 on Saturday, and Dylan and Alicia and myself, I will be bouncing back and forth on Sunday. But Dylan and Alicia will be there for sure on Sunday as well from 10 to 4. So training 2 on Saturday, 10 on Sunday. So if you want to hit some sessions this weekend, you are more than welcome to hit that. So I think that's all we got. Anything you?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Awesome. Remember, we have our gear available, craveathlete.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube if you're watching us, and make sure that, because we can do some cool stuff if we get more subscribers. So every time I'm going to keep asking people to subscribe. So if you're watching this on YouTube, real easy to hit that subscribe, hit that bell, because then we can get new content and we can get more of this content out to more people. If you found any value in this, please tell a friend. We don't make any money on doing this, but we want to try to get as much information out to people as possible. And so if you have any questions, comments, or any Q&A stuff that you want to post, throw it into our social media, and we'll get everybody, get all of that available for people as we continue going on our weekly gym closet. But remember, you're an athlete. Live like it.
Born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.